What's happening YouTube? PokePhD here. Welcome to a quick video on me ranking all the different WOTC era Pokemon TCG sets. So if you didn't know already, and I'm surprised you wouldn't know if you've clicked on this video, but if you didn't know, WOTC or Wizards of the Coast were in charge of kind of Pokemon in the TCG in the Western world in terms of, you know, porting over everything from the Japanese sets, translating everything, and then releasing the cards in English and other languages too. So the first WOTC set is of course base set, which was released in '99, and the last WOTC set is Skyridge. So I'm going to kind of look through all the sets, as you can see, from in chronological order, starting with base and ending with Skyridge. A lot of it's obviously just going to be my opinion, just my kind of subjective view and ranking on what I feel you know, I like about the set. So, you know, if you have a problem with that, feel free to let me know in the comments. Obviously, no one's really going to have, especially when you're looking at, it's going to be 15 sets in total, including Legendary Collection. So, you know, no one's ever really going to have the exact same tier list. People are going to disagree and all sorts of things, but, you know, that's totally fine. As I said, any issues, any disagreements, whatever, feel free to throw them in the comments. Hopefully, we can get some kind of conversation going for that. Let's just get straight into it. So, first set, of course, is base set. For me, base set, as it is for everyone else, fantastic set. Overall, I'd say, you know, good choice of holos. You've got your starters trio. Obviously, everyone knows all about Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. Just a quick caveat: nothing's going to kind of to do with price. It's all about the cards. It's all about. I'm not going to be like, oh well, Charizard's the most expensive main set card, so this is the best set. Nothing to do with the price. It's all about the cards in the sets themselves. Sorry, just wanted to quickly note. Throughout the set, you've got all the different holos, the Mewtwo's, the Gyarados, outside of the main trio, of course, Alakazam, all lots of cool holos. And then even through that, you've got lots of cool non-holos too. I'm big fan of Arcanine. I like Beedrill as well. I like the arts of all of those as well. Obviously, anyone who's seen base set cards will see that, you know, they have the kind of hand-drawn art of the Pokemon itself, and then you've got this weird like Windows 98 background to a lot of the cards, which for me takes away a little bit. I think that for me doesn't help as much, but generally even the non-holos, uncommons and commons, whatever, a lot of them are really good too. One real thing that kind of I find fantastic and really unique about base set is the shadowless. A lot of people are shadowless collectors, and it's another thing because obviously first edition base set is also shadowless. For me and for a lot of people, it's such a nice feature of the card. I actually prefer all the cards without the shadow, of course. That's why I'm saying it. So that's another point for base set, the fact that it does have these shadowless cards that haven't been seen since. Sorry. Just sort this. Yeah, so overall, I still think base set, I mean, I've only just sung its praises so far, but I do think base set is a little bit overhyped. It's a good set. I'm not putting it in S tier, definitely not in S tier. It's going to go into, do I want to put it in B tier? It's probably a little bit better than that, and I'll get slaughtered for putting it in B tier, right? So I'm probably going to go A tier, yeah. I think the uniqueness of shadowless cards really puts it over the top, and it being the first set as well, there's obviously a little bit of bias there. On to Jungle. Jungle is obviously the second set. Some cool holos to begin with. I would say, you know, the Jolteon, the Kangaskhan, Vaporeon. Obviously, you've got the well, I need to stop messing with that. You've got the two evolutions in the Vaporeon and the Jolteon, sorry, 3, and of course Flareon as well, and they've all got non-holo versions too. One thing I don't like about a lot of the WOTC era sets, early WOTC era sets, sorry, is, and they do this throughout, right? Yeah, like, yeah, you'll see this further on as well, is the fact that they have a holo card and then they also have a non-holo version of that card, and obviously it helps them kind of flesh out the numbers of the set. Jungle is quite a small set anyway, so the fact that you have 16 holos and then you have a bunch of non-holos that are repeats of the holos, they could have at least given them different patterns like they did with Feraligatr. Well, actually there were 2 holos with Feraligatr, but you know, when the cards were repeated in Neo sets, for example, they were given different artworks, whereas in obviously like Jungle, like here for example, the art's the same, it's just there's no holo, so you know, it's just a completely worse version of the other card, it's the same card, just worse. right? So at least if they provided some kind of different art, maybe people would have appreciated pulling them. So yeah, the set's already small, and obviously we've got the duplicates there. The one thing I like is there's minimal amounts of trainers, so it's all focused on the Pokemon. Obviously, outside of the holos, you've got the cool non-holos that are copies of the holo artworks. And then you've also got like a Pikachu, an Eevee, Meowth. Those are all cool cards. And I think generally there's a good amount of Pokemon. Scyther's another one. Is Scyther, of course. Scyther is actually one of my favorite Pokemon, so that's definitely going to be positive for me. Overall, I think Jungles is a good set. It's a bit small. Duplicates. It could have been a lot better. Obviously, it was carrying a lot of momentum at the time from base set. I'm gonna put it in B tier for the moment. Things might change as I go along, just because I'll kind of get an indication. Because, like, for example, on the next set, for me, like, it's a pretty, there's a clear comparison to be made between Jungle and Fossil, being kind of the small sets to follow base set, with same kind of pattern in that they have the holos and then the non-holos, which are the same arts but without the holographic, and yeah, and takes away from the set for me. I do think Fossil has the better Pokemon. Obviously, it doesn't have the 3 evolutions that were in Jungle, but the Zapdos, the Raichu, the Moltres, so obviously it has the bird trio, and it's close between the bird trio, the Kanto bird trio, and the evolution trio. But I think I'd put it in favor of the legendaries. Obviously got Lapras, Kabutops, Gengar's another one. I think Gengar's, and Dragonite. I think Dragonite's probably the most popular Pokemon in the set, and I think most well loved. So if anything, I am going to put Fossil B tier, and that means I'm going to put Jungle down to C tier, because I just think Jungle's worse than Fossil, and I wouldn't put them both in the same tier. Next set is base 2, and that's going straight into F. It's just a reprint of base set. Okay, wow, it has a Charizard, and it has a Blastoise, and it has a Venusaur, but they've all got the little 2 next to it, and they're not the base set variant. So for me, it's the rip-off. Anything really went into it. It's just straight F tier for me. And following base set 2, we've got Team Rocket. A few good things I like about Team Rocket. Introduced the secret rare, and obviously it was like the beginning of a lot of different things that Pokemon were going to take forward, and just try in the future. It's all the way now. Like there's it's gone from like secret rares there to like secret rares now, and all the different varieties of secret rares we have with the golds, the rainbows, and now we've got alt arts too. I like the idea of dark Pokemon. Is a bit of a different kind of, it's a bit of a twist on the Pokemon itself, and you'll see with the gym sets, for example, as well. I just love them being a little bit different. The same Pokemon, but someone owns it. Like it's someone's Pokemon. It's Misty's Gyarados. Or for example, in the example of Team Rocket, it's the Dark Gyarados, and obviously it has the art where it's looking a bit more menacing. For example, obviously the Charizard and the Blastoise, particularly the Charizard, just looks insanely menacing in Team Rocket, sorry. They do the same thing again, holo, non-holo, same card, fleshes out the set a little bit. Not a big fan, like no one wants to pull the non-holo Charizard, it's kind of disappointing. Yeah, it's a nice card still, obviously everyone wants to put it, but you're like, oh well, if I could have gotten a holo, it would have been nicer. So I think generally overall it's a really good set. I do like it. Lots of popular Pokemon: Charizard, Blastoise, Dragonite, Alakazam. The arts are cool. The arts are a bit different. I think they probably made a bit more of an effort. I really like the Doug trio, where it's kind of appearing out of the ground like you got in the original games as well, like digging through the floor there with in Vermilion City. Not Vermilion City, it was Cerulean City, sorry. And again, the secret rare Raichu was a cool inclusion. So I think I'm gonna put Rocket in B tier. Yes, I think B tier. B tier is fine. Next set is Gym Heroes. Just gonna say immediately, Gym Heroes is just a worse version of Gym Challenge. So wherever I put Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge is going to be higher. Hopefully that doesn't kind of kick me in the arse in a minute. Still some cool stuff in Gym Heroes. I'm a big fan of the gym Pokemon. I wish they'd done this later, like obviously all the trainers, the gym trainers, and owning Pokemon. I find it a bit annoying that they haven't done this since or tried anything interesting. Could have, you know, imagine they did this with every generation. It would have been so cool. Alas, they obviously did not. Some cool inclusions within Gym Heroes, stuff like Sabrina's Gengar, Rocket Scyther, obviously Rocket Spoltres as well. That's another popular one. And one thing I would say that Gym Heroes has above Gym Challenge is the trainers. So you've got Brock, Erica, Surge, and Misty in Gym Heroes, and for me they're the best holo trainers. It's the first inclusion of holo trainers, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So that's cool. I think Arch generally are nice in this set. Yeah, lots of cool Pokemon, lots of nice arts. Cool that, you know, they picked out some popular gym leaders as well. So obviously, no, of course, everyone likes that. One big issue for me is the number of trainers in the set. It's just way too high. Just like the number of kind of basic Pokemon as well, but I much more dislike the fact that there are a million trainers in the set. It's just a pain. Like, it's so unnecessary. Sure, in the game it was different. Obviously, they, you know, with the power creep, and they wanted to include new trainers for people to use, but it's just not nice when you know, it's just less enjoyable when you're opening a set and like 2 of the cards in each booster pack are trainers, and could have been, you know, potential Pokemon that would have been way more interesting. But to get to the point, I'm going to put Gym Heroes in B tier. Gym Challenge, again, I said it's better than Gym Heroes. It is just a better Gym Hero set. Blaine's Charizard, Blaine's Arcanine, Erica's Venusaur, Giovanni's Persian. I think the Giovanni cards across the board, so that's the Gyarados, the Machamp, the Nidoking, and the Persian, are just cool as shit. So for me, that's a big yes. Then you've got the Rocket Zapdos as well. That's just insane art on that. Obviously, it was reprinted during the 25th anniversary. And then Rocket's Mewtwo. Misty's Pokemon as well. Misty's Gyarados was really cool. Again, I don't think the trainers are as cool as the Gym Heroes, or as interesting. Giovanni's the one where I'm like, yeah, that's you know, it's a nice one. But I think I'd take, you know, Surge, Lieutenant Surge, Misty, and Brock over like Giovanni and Blaine for sure. I think the Pokemon though are better. You know, if only they gave Sabrina's Gengar in here a holo as well, but you know, it's probably just not necessary given that there was one in the previous set, or there was a, you know, holographic Gengar there. Same issue again with the trainers, and because they're quite big sets, like 130 card plus sets, so I guess they just needed that filler. But I'm gonna say Gym Challenge is an A. Yeah, it's in the same tier as base set for me personally. And I think it was kind of, I just wish they'd carried it on forward, to be honest, with the gym thing, the gym idea. The first Neo set is, of course, Neo Genesis, and Neo Genesis infamous. At this point, like, everyone knows all about how good of a set Neo Genesis is. You've got your Lugia, of course, is the highlight of the set. Lugia is basically the second generation Charizard in that sense. You've got the starters as well. You've obviously, with each starter, you've got 2 artworks and 2 holos. I do like it. I like the fact that they've done that. If they did the holo non-holo thing that they did in previous sets, I would have been I'd like it less, but you know, different artworks. Particularly like that kind of stands out with Typhlosion with the T17 and T18. Obviously T17 is another thing that, you know, another card alongside the Lugia, massively popular, low pop, infamous card. You know, if you grade that in a 10, you're looking at a deposit per house right there. So the holos, you know, kind of across the board. I'm a big Metal Steel fan, whatever you want to call it. So I'm a big fan of the Skarmory and the Steelix. So it's a solid set, at least from the holos to begin with. Heracross is another one, big fan of. Everyone loves Ampharos too. That's another one. I'd say Pichu's, like, everyone likes Pichu, and I don't want to be that guy. But Pichu and Blossom, I guess Blossom's worse. I could say Blossom is the weakest holo there, alongside the energy, but we don't talk about the energy, right? And then Pichu and Togetic, I guess, another ones. Like, it's just the holos are so cool. You've got Slowking as well. That's another one I missed out. Another insanely low pop Pokemon. I think a lot of the fact that a lot of these are such low pop cards. When I talk about low pop, I'm really talking about PSA 10 cards, but the fact that they are such low pop compared to some of the base set cards, for example, even base set first edition, I think it adds to the notoriety, I guess, of some of the holos. You know, you talk about T17 and everyone's eyes light up because you know how rare of a card it is and how difficult it is to get. The rest of the cards in the set, the holos, non-holos, pretty cool Pokemon. Obviously a good introduction to the new Pokemon within Johto, and obviously the second generation. I like the fact that they have focused on it a lot here. There's not many Kanto Pokemon. There's a few, of course. You've got like Oddish and Horsey and so on, but they've really made an effort to introduce Pikachu, because you can't miss Pikachu too, to introduce the new Pokemon. Few too many trainers again for my liking. Overall though, the art of the set arts are really nice too, and I wouldn't say they stand out particularly. I would say I prefer the arts used in Gym Challenge. So I'm gonna give Neo Genesis an A. Gonna give it an A. Okay, Neo Discovery, I think, yeah, it's pretty unanimous. Outside of Espeon and Umbreon and probably the T-Tar Houndoom, it's between this and obviously Neo Revelation, which is the weakest Neo sets. The problem with the Neo sets is they're all bloody good. They're all really good. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh well, this is the weakest Neo set. Although I think the other three, maybe Neo Rev's worse than Neo Discovery, to be fair. But yeah, again, Neo set, fantastic. Arts are really good. There's some of the non-holo arts, the Metapod and the Kakuna, for example, the Houndour, the Eevee, outside of the stupid clay motion arts that they've done with some of them, the Kabuto, for example. I think the arts are fantastic. Those clay motion arts I really hate. I remember opening like Gen 3, Gen 4 a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I always used to look at these clay motion or clay arts and just think they were complete waste of space, really. I always thought they were fake at first, but obviously the cards are legit. They just look terrible. I like Neo Discovery. I'm not too sure. I'm going to look at, kind of speak through the other two sets, the other two Neo sets, and then I'll see. But at the moment, I'm going to put it in B2. Neo Rev, yeah, well, I guess it kind of at the beginning speaks for itself. You've got your Entei, Suicune, Raikou. You've obviously got that trio there. Maybe outside of that, there's not too much. There's an Ampharos, but obviously that's a repeat from Neo Genesis as well. The Ho-Oh, it's just like a weaker Lugia, right, compared to Neo Genesis. I think overall it's a worse set than Neo Genesis. I think that's clear. But is it worse than Neo Discovery? It's got a Houndoom as well. I think the Houndoom art in here is better. I think fewer holos. Let me just... Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, because there's the Yanma in Neo Discovery, right? So yeah, perhaps actually Neo Rev's interesting. Actually, I'm just thinking now. Would I say Neo Rev's worse than Neo Discovery? I'd say the artwork generally, at least, there's less of that kind of clay motion, and it's more of the kind of unique arts, like you'll see with Flaffy, for example. The Flaffy, if you want to Google the Flaffy in Neo Revelation, I mean, I'm a big fan. Oh, as well, big fan. Kingdra, have it myself in 10, like, big fan. A big fan of some of those arts. So the artwork for me kind of definitely puts it above Neo Discovery in that sense. But Neo Discovery has the better overall Pokemon. So I'm going to put it in tier B. On to Neo Destiny. And, well, first thing with Neo Destiny, if you didn't already know, is obviously the 8 shining Pokemon that we have. So that's the Celebi, the Charizard, the Kabutops, Mewtwo, Noctowl, Raichu, Steelix, and Tyranitar. For me, this just makes it immediately... I don't care about the Lugia, and I don't care about the I obviously still care about T17 and on all those cards, but for me, Neo Destiny is at the top. Those shining Pokemon, yeah, sorry, the shining Pokemon really take the cake for me. Soon as you see them, soon as you can you can pull those cards, for me it's the best Neo set. And that's probably going to be controversial because a lot of people are going to say Neo Genesis is better, but obviously that's just my opinion. I guess the holos are a little bit lacking. But I do like the fact that we do have the dark and light Pokemon introduced. Light Arcanine, everyone's such a big fan. Light Arcanine, light Dragonite, and then the dark Houndoom. It's not as good as probably the Houndooms in the previous two sets. We've got another Ampharos as well because they couldn't get rid of the guy. So it's, you know, the artworks aren't as good, at least with the holos, but the shinings do it for me. I mean, it's kind of like very kind of annoying, obviously, just a bit sad, not sad, but just kind of not to consider anything else and just be like, oh well, shinings. But I just, like I said, I just couldn't care less. For me, it's an S tier set, best Neo set, and best set we've looked at so far for me, in my opinion. So just obviously we're getting towards the end of obviously all the WOTC sets, and just before we get into the E-series sets is Legendary Collection. So if you didn't know, and I keep saying if you didn't know, but let's be honest, you know, Legendary Collection at the time wasn't so popular. We obviously had the firework reverse holos, which is, you know, for me what really pushes the set over the edge. And before then, you know, back in 2002, yeah, people weren't big fans. I actually thought they were fake as well at the time. I wasn't too sure. I guess when I kind of came back into collecting cards in 2010-ish, 2009, 2008, around, you know, Diamond and Pearl, for a couple of years, I thought they were fake as well, and I just wasn't sure on them. But now you look back and you see them now. You see them graded in 10s, and I've just got to say, I love the set. Just wasn't appreciated, I guess, back then, and obviously with a bit of hindsight now, it's insane. Just because of the kind of reverse holos. We don't take away from the fact that obviously it's got some of the more popular Pokemon, even though they are reprints. And obviously I punish base set 2 for being reprints, but you know, if they did put those legendary, you know, firework holos in base set 2, I probably would have put an S tier as well. So that's, for me, it's an S tier set. An S tier set. Through onto the E-series set. So if you didn't know, E-series, what's E-series is split into Expedition, Aquapolis, and Skyridge. So Expedition, or you know, Expedition base is the first E-series set. One thing about E-series is obviously it has the distinct border because you were able to kind of like scan them in the if you had your Game Boy, you can kind of scan them in the e-reader and it would, you know, do something apparently. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of the you know, the kind of card design, generally the sets as well. Solid Pokemon. I think they made more of an effort to make cooler, more solid, better looking designs in the E-series. I think that's pretty obvious for most people. Expedition, everyone likes Expedition, but they don't like it that much because obviously Aquapolis and Skyridge kind of take the forefront of this era. But there's, you know, there's lots of solid Pokemon in Expedition regardless. Gengar, Dragonite, obviously there's the Charizard, got another Alakazam, obviously another Ampharos, because why not, is basically guaranteed at this point. Another favorite of mine is Skarmory. You've got Mew and Mewtwo as well. Meganium, I think for a long time, Tyranitar, Venusaur, for a long time I think Expedition was kind of frowned upon because I guess Skyridge and Aquapolis took a lot of the plaudits. But no, it's a great set, great arts. They did the holo non-holo thing again, but that's just common amongst all the sets really. Too many trainers again, that's another thing. It's a great set. I'm just not too sure what set. Do I want to annoy everyone and say B tier because that's what I'm thinking, or because, you know, it just includes so many cool Pokemon. I didn't even mention the Blastoise, did I? The one in the water. I think I've got to put it A tier. I might just do that. I'll see how I feel about Aquapolis and Skyridge, I guess. Aquapolis, similar kind of format. How many Amphoroses do we have across the set from Neo Genesis? 12, 5. Insane. So yeah, you've got another Ampharos. Arcanine's another cool holo that we have. You've got Entei, Espeon, another Houndoom, Kingdra. For me, the arts are better in Expedition. Apart from the Charizard, I do hate the Expedition Charizard art. I very much dislike it. But actually, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's the case. I think I'm just chatting shit because the Tyranitar, for example, is better in Aquapolis. Maybe yeah, I guess there's a mix and match between the two sets on what's What's better, what's worse? To be honest, at this point, I do want to say Aquapolis and Expedition go in the same tier, really, because Sky, you know, we all know Skyrim just kind of stands out. Maybe the kind of main hollow Pokemon, like, you know, I can see a Sizzler as well. Maybe they're a little bit better in Aquapolis. I'm sure there's something I'm missing. People are probably gonna bash me over. Do you know what? I think if Expedition is A, so is Aquapolis. And then finally, I'm gonna give it a quick review at the end, but final set, WOTC set is, of course, again, another infamous set is Skyridge. And boy, look at those hollows. First, like the Gyarados, insane. The Beedrill, I just like Beedrill, might be lame, but whatever. Arcanine, the Alakazam, just looking demented and like possessed. There's a couple of Magcargos, I don't mind those, to be fair. The Raikou, the Rhydon. Yeah. It's Skyridge. It kind of speaks for itself. You think you've got 4, 8, 12, 30. That can't be right. It's not that many hollows, is it? Yeah. 32, 8, 16, 24, 32. Okay, 32 hollows. I'm pretty sure they're all bangers apart from Raichu, Piloswine. It's another kind of that clay art. Even the Nidoqueen is cool. Poliwrath's a bit lazy. It's not that nice. The Gengar is not as good as the previous Gengar, in my opinion. Fortress again is another one is lazy. I'm being very, very mean, like calling these cards out, because in any other set, like the Jolteon as well, I'm not a big fan of the art of the Jolteon as well. Any other set, everyone would be happy with these cards, but it's Skyridge. I think I'm just gonna hold it to a much higher degree than the other cards. And then last and definitely not least are the crystal cards. So that's what I missed from Aquapolis, didn't I? Oh yeah, whoops, forgot about that. So I think from Aquapolis we've got Kingdra, Lugia, and Nidoqueen. King, I have to put that there, because I don't want to put this in A, even though there is the Lugia, because it's not as good as Skyridge. And I am comparing a little bit more between the eras rather than across. And Skyridge has got the Crystal Celebi, Charizard, the Crobat, the Golem, the Ho-Oh, and the Kabutops. And to be honest, like, the Lugia in Aquapolis is up there, and it might even, for a lot of people, be just almost as good as the Charizard, and kind of come second in terms of, you know, overall with the crystal cards. But they're all fantastic in Skyrim. Even, you know, the Golem. I'm a big fan of the Golem. Probably gets the least amount of love. Maybe the Golem and the Celebi. Crobat too, probably, I imagine. But I'm a big fan regardless. I think it's pretty obvious that Skyridge is an F tier. I'm just kidding. Yeah, S tier. And best set in the WOTC era, I think a lot of people would agree with that, to be honest. So again, that's my final tier list. Kind of tell me what you think below, whether you agree, disagree, and how much you want to criticize my thinking and whatever. Again, it's all personal to me and what I think. So I can be convinced otherwise. It happens all the time. I'm always wrong, so that's not difficult. But it's just kind of my general sentiment and feeling towards the set. So thanks for checking out the video. If you can like, subscribe, comment, anything would be much appreciated. And see you later.